The Mac Mini has always been a fantastic BYO, DKM, or bring your own display, keyboard, and mouse Mac computer, as Steve Jobs put when he debuted the product for the first time back in 2005. Then in 2010, 5 years later, they refreshed the design to match the unibody aluminum Macs of the day. And then a year later, they took the disk drive out. And from 2011 until just recently, the Mac Mini looked completely the same or unchanged until now. And this new design has everybody freaking out, and rightfully so. So in this video, I want to give you 5 super solid reasons why you got to consider picking up one of these new M4 Mac Minis, whether you're upgrading from a previous Gen 1 or a previous Gen iMac or MacBook, or even better, if you're buying this as your first Mac ever. But anyway, jumping right in here, reason number 1 to pick one of these up is, again, due to its brand new design or refresh design. I can't say it's completely brand new, because if you're Apple savvy, you would see, or you could tell, that it steals a lot from the Mac Studio, which took that 2011 Mac Mini chassis and just extruded it upwards and added beefier internals and thermals and all that. So they took all of the learning and everything right with the Mac Studio and meaningfully miniaturized it here into a new Mac Mini, which makes perfect sense, you know, literally and figuratively. I love it. It looks fantastic. Aluminum wraps around the entirety of the sides of the chassis now. There's no more plastic present on the back with the ports. It's still present, but it's on the bottom with this foot, which also acts as the thermal, you know, cold air intake, and it pushes hot air out, which is different from the Mac Studio, but similar in terms of intake, I think. We also have the infamous or controversial power button here. I love Marquez's theory that there's somebody at Apple that makes controversial design decisions just to stir up drama and stuff, but I don't really care. I think they tried to just keep it clean, and they probably wanted to make this aluminum piece really simple to manufacture. I don't really shut down my Mac a lot or have to turn it back on, so if I have to, you know, interact with it, I just, you know, will lift it up off the table. It's super light anyway, not that big of a deal. And if you're someone that uses these for servers, I'm sure there's a funny 3D printed workaround. But anyway, yeah, love the thermal design here and the aluminum wrapping all around, but ultimately this makes this a much more compact device, which takes up less surface area, which is really important if you want to incorporate this more nicely into your desk setup or onto your desk or whatever. Because in the past, especially after the Apple Silicon transition, which did not need the chassis the way it was, it was taking up too much space. That's my point. The surface area was just a bit much. So even though this is slightly taller, it takes up less surface area, which allows you to more comfortably fit it onto your desk. And also on the display stand that you have, whether it be third party or, you know, first party with the Pro Display or the Studio Display. So yeah, not only does this look great, the thermal design is super cool, and it's just overall more compact and mini, which is what you want, so you can fit it into your setup a lot more comfortably. But anyway, with design out of the way, now we can talk about reason number 2, which has to do with the really generous port or I/O situation with the new Mac Mini here. We do lose the convenience of USB Type A, however, we gain the convenience of an additional USB-C port, but also 2 of them which now live at the front. So USB 3 ports here, USB-C connectivity, 10 gigabit speed. We also get a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack on the front here too. So easy access for plugging in wired headphones, and also connecting or charging your phone, or syncing, you know, your phone, or connecting a drive or a dongle without having to reach behind your, you know, Mac Mini, messing up your setup, cable management, whatever. So easily accessible ports here. And then on the back, we get 3 Thunderbolt 4 or Thunderbolt 5 USB-C ports, depending on if you have a M4 or M4 Pro model. Full-size HDMI still, thankfully, which is really nice if you want to connect this to a TV or a monitor via that, if you want to sort of preserve the USB-C connectivity. You also get Ethernet still, which is great here. Gigabit standard or 10 gigabit configurable. And the power plug, which I think is the same. I don't think it's changed. But yeah, overall, I'm just glad that Apple has retained the modularity aspect with the Mac Mini, because that's what makes it so great. Again, it is a BYODKM computer, you know, bring your own display, keyboard, mouse, accessories, peripherals, all that. So you can still do that here and connect a lot of, you know, dongles via the 5 USB Type-C ports. You can use HDMI for display connectivity. You know, you have a built-in Ethernet port. So, you know, you can really deck this out despite the fact that you lose the convenience of USB Type-A, which isn't that big of a deal, because again, we have the front-mounted ports, which are just so useful for, you know, connecting a pair of wired earbuds or headphones, which is nice if you're working with audio audio or video editing or whatever, gaming. And also too, the front mounted ports again are just so nice. I've been using these when I was transferring, files to, work with in a future performance test that I'm gonna be doing. And speaking of transferring files, I want to bring our attention to the people that made today's video possible, Super Aced and their UPDF powerful PDF editor. Within macOS, Preview does an okay job at this, but if you want to take your PDF editing experience to the next level, UPDF offers some really compelling features. For starters, you can manage PDF organization and effortlessly insert, split, combine, or reorder pages to your liking. Next up, you can edit pretty much every element in a given PDF, including text, images, links, headers, footers, and page size, which is crazy. Beyond the basics though, you can annotate text in PDFs with highlights, strike-through stickers, stamps, shapes, and more. UPDF, of course, also allows you to create fillable forms and add digital signatures, which is great if you're always working with contracts like me. UPDF also has powerful OCR tech, which means you can convert and edit scanned images or documents in PDF form, and also convert Microsoft Office files into PDFs as well. Last up, the app can compress and resize your PDF files and also share PDF files via links, email, QR codes, or over the cloud, which is very convenient. But wait, there's one more thing. UPDF also has built-in AI features that can summarize hundreds of pages in minutes, translate PDFs in other languages, and more, which is incredibly useful. With all this said though, the UI is super clean and intuitive to use as well and fits into macOS very nicely. It's also a great value considering it's 1/4 the cost of Adobe's Acrobat PDF editor. So if you're always altering and working with PDFs, what are you waiting for? Try UPDF today. I'll leave links below if you're interested in checking it out. But anyway, beyond connectivity or ports though, the third reason you're gonna wanna pick up a new M4 Mac Mini is because of the new memory or unified memory or RAM situation with the M4 Macs across the board. Long story short, the base 8GB model across the board, through MacBook Air, MacBook Pro, iMac, and Mac Mini is now extinct, and thank God, because the issue with those was they were great for everyday tasks, stuff you do with your phone or your iPad, Safari browsing, Gmail, light photo editing, whatever. But when you would want to do anything more intensive, it would get kind of choked up because, unified memory or RAM is a super important resource that the CPU draws on. And if you're buying a powerful chip like the M1 or M2 or M3 or now the M4, you don't want to bottleneck it with not enough system memory. And it can use memory swap if you know what that means, but if you fill up your small internal drive here, especially with the base $599 Mac Mini here, you're gonna sort of not have a lot of memory swap to work with. All this to say, the 8GB model was sort of a trap if you wanted to do anything more than casual tasks. It sort of forced you to pre-configure up to 16, but now you get that out the gate. So if you're buying this, you can rest assured that it'll do all of your everyday tasks wonderfully. And if you want to delve into some more intensive stuff like gaming or video editing or, like 3D modeling, whatever, you can do that with the base model even, which is great for people on a lower budget, students, whatever. And thankfully, if you want to upgrade the RAM, you can upgrade it to 24 or 32GB with the M4 model or the M4 chip. And then if you get the M4 Pro model, it comes with 24GB standard and then 48GB and 64GB if you go crazy. So there's lots of RAM options. It's staggered, depending on what you want to do and how much money you got. But at the very minimum, at the very least, for $599 or $499, depending on if you take advantage of education pricing, you are getting enough RAM to pretty much do whatever you want with this thing, which is amazing. Anyway, moving on here, all this talk about RAM or unified memory brings us neatly into the fourth reason to consider buying one of these M4 Mac Minis, and that's because they're super powerful for what you're getting. And what I mean by that is the base M4 chip is acting a lot like a previous gen Pro chip, the M3 Pro found in the MacBook Pros from last year, and the M2 Pro found in the Mac Minis that were last refreshed. There was no M3 Mac Minis. And then with the M4 Pro chip, you're getting like M3 Max and even M2 Ultra level performance, at least CPU wise. They still outclass the M4 Pro GPU wise simply because even though their individual GPU cores are less powerful because they're previous gen tech or chip tech, there's just more of them, up to like 72 or 76 with the Ultra. You get max 20 here with the M4 Pro chip, but they're so much more powerful. And they actually stack up to, the Max chips. So anyway, again, you are on par with the Max and Ultra chips with the M4 Pro chip. You're on par with the Pro chips with the base chip. all of this to say, you know, you can do so much more with these. It's crazy to think that I was able to get so much done with the M1 MacBook Pro with 16 gigs of RAM back a few years ago. So you inherit all that performance plus Pro and Max and Ultra level performance into these lower tier chips. So, you know, they mean more. They're more powerful now, which is really exciting. And in the M4 Pro's case, they also bring Thunderbolt 5, which I mentioned earlier, I think. But the significance of that is that if there are future, you know, displays coming out with higher refresh rates at, you know, resolutions exceeding 5K, 6K, 7K, you can do that because Thunderbolt 5 has just an insane amount of bandwidth up from Thunderbolt 4 and 3. So again, you get insane raw performance plus Thunderbolt 5. That is a hell of a time. And that brings us into the fifth reason to buy one of these, and I'm sure you're guessing what it is. It's just an incredible value. I've mentioned this many times in the video, but I have to emphasize it here at the end. For $499 with education pricing or $599 regular MSRP, you get a crazy performing computer here. You cannot build a computer that is this powerful here. The M4 chip is crazy, crazy powerful. And, you know, it still blows like Snapdragon and whatever else anybody has, you know, for the PC market out of the water. I mean, especially with the macOS optimization and the Pro apps you can get, you know, Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro and all that. Even with some, you know, other industry leaders like Premiere and After Effects and all that, you can still just get so much done here. It's so powerful. I mean, you get double the RAM you get with an iPad Pro M4 with the same amount of storage, the same chip, all of that for $400 less. Yeah, you get so much for your money here, plus the modularity, plus this design, plus the fact that it's compact. I love it. It is a fabulous computer here. If I wasn't a, you know, crazy Apple YouTuber or really high-end professional, you know, production type of guy, I would have this and it would satiate my needs for casual computing and also some more hobbyist or prosumer level or pro enthusiast, whatever the word is. It would be powerful enough for a more casual creative workflow. And you know what? I'll run that back. I think that this is a great machine for professionals too. It's super powerful. Again, it's outclassing the M3 Max MacBook Pro in some cases and even outperforming the M2 Ultra Mac Studio in some cases. However, I will say if you are concerned about the base storage capacity being 256 gigabytes, I agree it is kind of low, but considering the amount of performance you're getting and the money you're saving, plus the USB-C connectivity, the high-speed connectivity at that, you can buy a high-capacity SSD, you know, a fast one, and you won't lose too much sleep or performance, which is nice. And to quickly focus on the pre-configured M4 Pro model that I have here for $1399 or $1299 with education pricing, you get a hell of a lot here. Again, the M4 Pro chip, which is max or ultra level, you get 24 gigabytes of base memory, half a terabyte of storage, and Thunderbolt 5, all of that for less than the cost of a MacBook Pro with the M4 chip, which again has the base chip, you know, 10-core CPU, 10-core GPU, opposed to 12-core CPU and I think 16-core GPU. And then if you just spend an extra $200, you get the maxed out or best M4 chip with 14-core CPU and 20-core GPU, so double the GPU performance of the base M4 chip, and that's all for the same price as a base M4 MacBook Pro, which is just nuts. All of this to say, these computers are an insane value. And again, that's why people are singing their praises, and rightfully so. I mean, Apple Silicon Macs have been really great value-wise, you know, performance per dollar, but these Mac Minis bring that to a whole new level. So again, if you're looking to upgrade or if you're looking to buy your first Mac ever, there has never been a better time. These are super powerful and cute and also work with your peripherals. So yeah, pick one up, please. They're great. I can't wait to test them more. Expect more content coming from me soon. I've been working on a lot of stuff behind the scenes, so I apologize for the delay here. Check out my links to UPDF down below as well. And again, check out more content from me that already exists, and there's more stuff to come. So subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, leave a like, all that good stuff. Leave a comment as to what you think about these new Mac Minis. And as always, I'm Noah, and I will catch you all in the next one.